And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. It is dark outside, so that means it's early. We got Bitcoin on the 4-hour. The week flew by again. It is bright and early Friday. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Just wanted to go over a few things, a few interesting tweets about the different dramas around the interwebs, and kind of go over what the Fed has said and some of the underlying market dynamics, which will play into Bitcoin's price action probably over the weekend. Even though usually the weekend is more sideways than not, I think we're at one of these times where something interesting could definitely happen over the weekend. So first things first, underlying market dynamics. I did want to talk about this. We haven't talked about it in a while. The open interest. So all the leveraged positions on the board. And we did talk about this, that, hey, when it gets up to about 10, 11 billion, sorry, we said 11, 12 billion. That's typically when we get a 20% correction. We got up to 10.2. So you can see this, this is actually going down over time. And what we want to see for the next big move is open interest to at least come back up a little bit. Definitely in this range, the $10 billion range, there's going to be a lot more open interest or leverage positions on the board, so we can get a greater move. So has this move played out? Well, we'll take a look at what the indicators are saying as well. Something else to note, funding rates. This is one of the ways to note, hey, a low is when funding rates get below 0.1%, but we want to see them hold there. Very similarly, the lows, that was the COVID lows. We got down to 0.2%, pretty crazy, but it held there for a few days. And then this, we got to about 0.5%, held for a few days before a few months before the low was put in. So just another underlying market dynamic to keep our eye on. As funding rates go negative, it will cost you more money to short the market. As they go positive, it costs you more money to long the market. Now, on the other side of the fence, the leverage ratio did have a reset. It was at all-time highs, and now, probably looking for it to come up a little bit more before the next big move. I don't know. This market has been very news-driven, and some of the news in the market, and I like this because I actually read the tweet from El Salvador, the president. So El Salvador's president, I'm not even going to try and say his name, Nia Buckley and Tron's Justin's son to buy one Bitcoin every day. So here's what the tweet said. This is Justin's son. We echo Nyabuki's initiative in buying Bitcoin daily. We also buy one Bitcoin every day starting tomorrow. We will also buy one Bitcoin every day starting tomorrow. And that's exactly what Nayib, I feel bad, Buckley said. We're buying one Bitcoin every day. And he had a really positive outlook in a sense. He said, look, this is just the start for cryptocurrency. We believe in its future. We believe in its ability to bring freedom to the world and decentralized finance. So it was a really good tweet. Anyways, on the other side of the fence, the more bearish news, Grayscale, which holds, it's the biggest Bitcoin ETF in the world. If you didn't want to buy actual Bitcoin, you wanted to buy, call it paper Bitcoin or a Bitcoin ETF, you could have bought Grayscale, which is now trading at a 40% discount to the price. And that's why we've always said, don't buy Grayscale. And another reason, and again, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but Grayscale holds 635,000 Bitcoin, or $13 billion worth of Bitcoin, and 3.1 million Ethereum, roughly 3.7 billion Ethereum. And there's rumor that they might have to liquidate. Now, Barry Silbert, the founder, I don't think he's going to liquidate. The rumor is they got to come up with $1 billion by Monday to kind of, you know, for whatever reason. Otherwise, the hammer drops. Yada, yada, yada. I think it's just a rumor. Other than that, let's get into the charts. Let's take a look at what we talked about yesterday on the 4-hour time frame. And I can say, well, it looks like well, it's neither to be confirmed or unconfirmed if I got it wrong or not. But yesterday, what I was talking about, a 4-hour closure above this wick or below this one very likely gets us the next move, right, to the top side of the range at 17.2 or to the bottom side of the range at 15.8. And what happened? Well, we broke the range, this descending triangle to the upside. And I mean, really, you can get a measure move off of something like this. And again, not financial advice and not a financial advisor. Something like this. And that would bring you up right to that purple 200, which is probably going to be right in line with the 0.5 and the 618. So the problem I see right now as for this move playing out is it just has no legs, no follow through and no volume, right? When you see a breakout like this, you want to see it happen, in my opinion, sooner than later, right? And it is just really failing here on the 4-hour, which what we're going to see here is momentum cross to the downside, any kind of a 4-hour closure below 16,555. And that's why I've been saying, hey, look, I'm not really looking to take any longs or any trades in this area because we're in limbo land. It doesn't really show us where the next momentous move is going to happen. We want to see a clear stop and reverse point. Right now, we've just got the sideways action. And yeah, the other thing going around the interwebs is this being a bit of a bearish pendant, which is something like this. And this would be a bit of a fake out if it is going to play out this way. But technically, these are more likely to break out to the downside. And that puts you a target at 12.3. And what have we been talking about this entire time? We've had some green boxes on here. I think I have begun to take them off. And this is important pivot on the 4-hour time frame for CMEs is going to be this pivot right here, this wick at 16,450. If we break back below there, you can have multiple drives of hidden bearish divergence on CMEs, which actually we had it. I think this was yesterday. And we were saying, hey, look, you know, on the 4-hour, we've got divergence, which is going to play out. Will be the 2-drive variety now, and this is all but confirmed with a closure below 16.6 in my book, and that's in the next 58 minutes. And so that would be 1, 2, 3 drives, should give us that shot to the bottom side of the range, which is down here at about 15.4 on CMEs. Notice the discrepancy in spot and CMEs is quite different. Got lines going all over the place here today, but the bearish divergence on this one will be confirmed below 16.5 or just a closure in my book below this wick right here at 16,724 if you're a little more aggressive. And as volatility begins to increase on the 4-hour, which I do believe we will get that today or tomorrow. And if we have any kind of a bearish economic news, right now the stock market is up for the morning, up 1%. Dollar, it was down, and it is getting faded. So here's what I suspect in the markets right now. Again, the 4-hour hidden bullish divergence we talked about, we had multiple drives. Looks like we're working on a 4th one right here. And that's coming back. Well, even from this pivot right here, this would be 1, 2, 3, and that should give us the shot to the green 55, or at least the top side of the range. I know we were targeting the green 55 yesterday, and giving us kind of the bearish bias. So if the dollar bounces here, likely stock market is going to get impacted, and the S&P and all of these assets are coming right into some major trend lines. Well, there's the green 55. You can get stifled right there real easily and put in another lower high. And if we do confirm any kind of a lower high on the daily time frame, which again, to me, I thought it was all but confirmed on that closure, but we're getting a bit of a reversal, a bit of a fake out. So this would be your Wyckoff accumulation box, and daily closures above or below here going to get a pretty significant move in stocks. Right now, S&P's looking okay. We got the silver cross as well. And this is, in fact, what the Dow did. It came up to this high and just topped out. So is the Dow leading the market? So as long as we're actually below that pivot, you're going to have those drives of bearish divergence. And again, the moves to the downside are going to be swift, in my opinion, and they're going to be sharp. And with what the Fed Bullard said yesterday, terminal rates are set to be at 5 to 7% next year. Again, the Fed is committed to getting inflation down to 2%. So what does that mean? They're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to have whatever, they're going to use whatever financial resources they have, which is tightening and unloading the balance sheet to bring down inflation. They're going to use interest rates. And according to the Taylor rule, interest rates have to be higher than inflation for inflation to come down. So that's the basics 101s of it. And that's why they said yesterday, I believe they said something to the tune, real estate's going to come down 20% from here. And that's the only way to really affect people's wealth. Stocks is, one menial way, because the bulk of the wealth in the world is in real estate. Well, they got to bring real estate prices down to help inflation come down. So again, not expecting any new all-time highs yet in the stock market, and I do suspect this breakout at the moment. And again, if the dollar does want to put in a bounce on the daily time frame, we said bullish divergence with a closure above yesterday's wick. We didn't get above it. Will we get above it today? Any kind of a closure above 106.80. To me, it's all but done. To me, this does look like we're going to get a mean reversion bounce. We've had two extremes on volatility, but these were all to the upside. So we need maybe one more extreme to the downside. So that would line up with something like this happening for the dollar, which could be interesting over the next few weeks coming into Thanksgiving. But a shot up to the green box and then a move down for one more leg down in the dollar, and that actually we could derive targets from that by using our fib tool, which is pretty cool. So from the spike low to the high, potentially, coming down to test this trend line, which is the weekly higher low trend line, I believe I have drawn in here. Yep. And that would require a massive wick down there, and it would create still yet another higher low. And I guess that is the potential right now as volatility is increasing on the weekly time frame and momentum is to the downside. So yeah, I am expecting a significant bounce for the dollar as soon as we confirm a low. So the dollar is going to close today in 9 hours, and upon the next week's closure, a tick above or below there is going to give us the next dollar move, which should make a run on the markets. Dollar down, good for risk assets like stocks. Hasn't necessarily been great for Bitcoin, but I do imagine if the stock market continues to run, Bitcoin will play some catch up. That would be my opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. Vice versa, I do think if the stock market takes another leg down, well, I think Bitcoin probably is going to receive, I wouldn't say receive the benefit of that, but is going to move alongside that. Okay, so that's the dollar, Bitcoin. On the 4 hour we went over. The last thing I want to go over is the 5-day time frame. as we are getting the signal to lift off right now. 5-day volatility is just getting above 20 percentile. The next 5-day closures in 3 days. So we're coming up on Sunday. That'll also be the weekly closure. And what did we say? Momentum is crossed to the downside and will remain down below 17,700. And I would say that's going to be a significant pivot for Bitcoin. 17,700 would be probably, let's see, where's the 12-hour? And notice volatility is extremely low on the 12-hour, and momentum is going to be to the upside as long as we are closing above 16.4. So that 16.4, 16.7 range is going to be pretty critical here. What else do we have? The economic data coming out today is going to be existing home sales and existing home sales. Yeah, so that's the high importance economic data for today. Plus you got Fed Collins speech, which is going on right now. It is probably just ending, and stock market is, I think, coming down. So let's see. And notice also the fear and greed index is at a 23. So we haven't gotten quite down to the extreme fears yet, or extremely extreme fear. What do they call that? This zone right here. We want to see it come down to a 10 read before kind of a macro lows in, typically. All right. So again, bounce or not, the big question, I think this move may not even get going until next week. We may pitter patter around as people are trying to make a decision what's happening across the globe and across the entire market. So I'll be bringing you back some more news on Monday. Let's just leave it off with this for, if the dollar confirms a higher low, and really you'd confirm it with any kind of a closure over 107.30, very likely the dollar will bounce going into next week, which would put pressure on Bitcoin and stocks. So unless anything major happens today and Bitcoin can put on its bootstraps and start up a rally here, eventually this does roll over and we head back to the bottom side of the range. And I think we can redraw those lines on the 4-hour because this is just a mess. And I'd probably be looking at it more in this area. So this is the major wick to take out at 17.2 on a 4-hour. That very likely would get us the next greater move up to about 18,000, and below 16.4, very likely to revisit the bottom side of the range, which actually a target from the high to the low. First target's going to be 16.6 for a bounce. Second target would be 15.5. And I would say that would be resulting in nothing less than a dollar rally and a stock market plunge today. If stocks can hold on by their bootstraps and we don't get any more horrible earnings or war cries or anything, I think there's going to be a bit of a calm in the market as the rest of the news is kind of digested. And yeah, Ethereum holding on to a thread here as well. And we did get this one right yesterday saying, hey, look, any kind of a 4-hour closure above this green box probably gets the next move up. Otherwise, pressure is on to the downside. And we'll cross down on the 4-hour below 1190, and the expansion from the lows, the expansion on this 4-hour is probably going to get a break of this range, which is 1235 to the upside and 1182 to the downside. But again, still the area to defeat for Ethereum is probably about $1,300 for a good move to the upside and 1182 to the downside. What else did I want to check in here on Mr. Ape, which is taking a bit of a rally up to the green 55, probably 317. If it cannot defeat this area, which is going to be The 0.5 really, I wonder what, yeah, from the high to the low, I'll use this retracement right here. And that one is lifting off here, low volatility, going to have another hour. And for the thing is with Ape is at 310, it's been getting stopped out every single time since the low. So we'll see if this is a bit of a fake out. Otherwise, looks like we're heading up to that green 55 or maybe even this trend line right here, which is going to be the 0.5. So 310 looks like it's in sight here. And what else did I want to bring up today? I think that's it for today, guys. We're 20 minutes into this video. XRP hanging on, about to get rejected on the green 55. Looks like it wants to roll over alongside Bitcoin. And then some of the metaverse coins are playing out a bit of a bounce here. So bit of contradictory effects or signals in the market. So kind of a no trade zone for me, waiting for the next breakout and a clear stop and reverse point. Hope you have a blessed and highly favored weekend. Take care.